Okay, so things are getting interesting now. And in my last video, I covered how CAV needs to clearly perceive the environment, right? And it does so via different types of sensors mounted on it. But do you think a car can clearly perceive its environment if they are in these kind of conditions, like truck blocking vision? So these are kind of extreme conditions, or like blind intersections. What about hidden pedestrians? That happens all the time. And what about extreme weather, like fog, heavy rain? And what about sharp curves? So what I'm trying to convey is that there are still few situations or few extreme situations where these sensors will fail or might fail. So how do we solve this? Now my point of view is that from my own research model or from my own research interest, I would solve this using wireless communication. I'll tell you how. So that's because only sensing is not enough for a clear perception. Now, as you know, that sensors may also fail in different conditions, and that's why vehicles need to communicate with each other to better understand the environment. What if what if a car is going from here to here, and suppose this is the intersection, and there's a truck, large truck that is going over here, and there's a person who is trying to cross the road. So this is a condition where truck is blocking the vision and you don't see this hidden pedestrian over here. But what if there's another car which is over here stopped at intersection, and these two cars can communicate? Now how do they communicate? This is using wireless communication. So they communicate, and this car can convey this information. Okay, there's a pedestrian over here which is trying to cross the road, to this car. So this is why these all issues or these all challenges can be solved via wireless communication. Now the next thing that I want to know is, what information do vehicles actually communicate, right? So first of all, I figured out that, okay, why is wireless communication important over here. So my next question is, what information do vehicles actually communicate? So I'm still not going deep into technicality of these things. I'm still trying to have a top view of all these things. Now, before researching, earlier I used to think that, okay, that cars are directly sending their camera feeds to each other, right? Like cameras will have it's a 2D point views, and they're trying to communicate each other by sending those camera feeds to each other. But being a wireless communication guy, I obviously understand that, okay, sending direct camera feeds will cause latency or packet loss or congestion. Why? Because 2D camera feeds are like contains a lot of information that will take some time to transmit over a over a wireless channel to another car, or multiple cars at an intersection. So this will be a big problem for CAVs. And digging some more, and these are few of the these are the actual information that is shared among CAVs, or these are the data that is being communicated between different vehicles. First one is vehicle ID or temp, right? This will be a temporary ID. And next thing is GPS location. Also, next thing will be speed, then acceleration. Then what do you think, guys? Brake, right? Brake status. What if the car in front of you is braking at 60 miles per hour? So obviously you need to know, okay, this guy is braking. And what about steering angle? If he is going to turn, or turn indicators. What else? Hazard warning. This is also a key element. And then obviously vehicle size, that makes a difference. Or path predictions. Is it going left? Is it going right? Or is it going straight? So I was actually surprised that so much information needs to be shared. Now, obviously, directly sharing camera feed will obviously will not convey all this information, and actually it makes sense compared to directly sending a camera feed to each other. And if you want to explore more, you can look into this European standard. This is ETSI EN 3026372. So this is the file that directly you can Google and see for yourself, and this is the link. So I'll paste this link in the video description, obviously, and you guys can look it up. So I think things are getting interesting now, I would say. And so V2X uses sensors information for to better perceive the CAV environment. Now, the next thing that I would like to know is that how are all these messages actually transmitted? There's a lot of information over here, but how is it transmitted over the air? So how are all these messages actually transmitted? Now the ETSI file EN302637-2 file, it actually answers this. So you guys can also take a look, and so far I have understood that an autonomous vehicle uses camera, lidar, radar, and other sensors to better understand its surroundings or better perceive. But then if one vehicle sees something important, something like pedestrian hidden behind a truck, so in this case, how will a car tell all the other vehicles that are not able to see that pedestrian? So in those kind of cases, what I'm thinking is like, does it just send a normal text message, or does it What other technologies can it use? Does it like use Wi-Fi? What else, guys? Does it use cellular networks? So this is where V2X communication comes into picture. So I already covered that a vehicle is continuously generating information, right? It always generates information. So what kind of information I'm talking about? Information like, so vehicle information. If you guys are following this, I think I was talking about location. So location like latitude and longitude, something like, what is it? 1, 2, 3 longitude, 4, 5, 6, and what would be the speed of vehicle, like 60 kilometer per hour, and then direction in which it is going currently, so like in north direction, and then acceleration meter per second square, and then it can also send its brake status, right? So brake status is active, and this vehicle, if it detects an obstacle, so like detected obstacle, so as I was talking about, like a pedestrian at 20 meters from itself. So this is a simple case that I'm starting with right now. As you know, a car will see multiple such things when on road. So like multiple such pedestrians, or multiple cars, or multiple animals around it, or multiple bicyclists, and it must continuously communicate such information with all other vehicles near it. So now I'm sure you guys must also be thinking, the next question is, or the next interesting part is like, how do we package this information? So so research is, I think, it's full of hows and whys, and then trying to answer them one by one. So like, how do we package this information and send it? So this will all be done using what? If we package all these things and all, let's call it messages. But first of all, I want to clear few things on the technology, right? uh, the technology that I'm talking about is like used to transmit all these messages, all the messages that a vehicle is generating and then communicating to other vehicles. So and then I can move to how are these messages packaged. So for my understanding, that is this is what I learned, right? Obviously some of you guys must have already known this. So thing is, I'll start with technology, and then what I know, and then I'll cover the V2X version. So the first technology, obviously, some people might already have answered this. So that is Wi-Fi, which is nothing but a short range direct communication, and where network is not needed. So no network needed. And this V2X version is the DSRC version. So let me just not write it like this, but the dedicated short range communication. So it calls for DSRC. So this is under the family of IEEE 802.11p. Now it's 802.11 BD. And the second alternative to this, or alternative to this, is how to send these messages. Is your some of you might have already guessed, which is cellular network. So cellular network, so Wi-Fi, as saying it's good for short range, cellular network, it helps for long range communication. Obviously, long range communication. And then what else? So for cellular network, we obviously need towers. So through towers, and so Wi-Fi, no network needed, and obviously here needs the network. And what about V2X version? So over here, this is V2X, so cellular V2X version. So the more mature one is LTE V2X, and the future right now where it's going is all near 5G, new radio, NR, V2X. So if you want to know more, you can read this paper. So let me just put down so you guys can read this paper. If you have, if you want, if you are curious, if you want to know more about it, so feel free to go through this paper. Now I'm more of a history lover, so let me go back to the year 1997, because I like how it all started and how it's how it proceeded and uh, came into existence. So I came to know that first was Wi-Fi. That is, first came Wi-Fi, the standard IEEE 802.11. So before vehicles came into picture, researchers they developed wireless LAN technology, local area network. So this happened back in 1997, where IEEE 802.11 was first introduced. So first Wi-Fi standard was introduced, and in early 2000, the researchers started using this Wi-Fi technology. So for vehicular communications, researchers explored vehicular communication. So that is like uh, adopted Wi-Fi idea for vehicles. So that was an interesting history that I came to know. Okay, that it all started with Wi-Fi back in 1997 to 2000. So traditionally, Wi-Fi was developed for what, like things like laptops, offices, homes. But then they realized that vehicles need extremely fast local communication, and this is what created your first, V2X approach. So then in 2009, IEEE 802.11p was developed. That was a a dedicated standard for Wi-Fi for vehicles. So this was back in 2009, where 802.11 standard was developed, and which was dedicated Wi-Fi for vehicles. Now, this was everything that was happening at the IEEE standard at the Wi-Fi level, and around the same time, cellular networks were also evolving. You can never forget about cellular. So cellular networks were also evolving, and if I come down to, like, I think year 2000 was the year for third generation 3GPP, and then 2008 to what, 2010 we got 4G LTE, and then 2015 onward 5G came into picture. So 5G research was at its peak. So this was for the from the 3GPP family, and this was what developed for communication for, like, voice, internet, or video streaming. So these were the things that further led to the technology that we came to know now, which is CV2X. So which is, you know from here we got cellular V2X, that is cellular vehicle to access everything. So C V2X. So this was all you know uh, by 3GPP, that is a cellular standard organization. Third generation partnership project. So we started with Wi-Fi approach, and now using cellular approach heavily. So this is a brief history of vehicular communication, and we started with, so a brief, that we started with what, Wi-Fi, that is DSRC, that happened in back in 2000 to 2010, and then cellular came into picture, which was around starting with LTE V2X, which was around 2017, and then to NR V2X. This happened in back in 2020. So, an interesting part that I came to know was that DSRC has been completely phased out in United States, especially, and replaced by CV2X, cellular V2X, but it is still used in Europe on those parts. So again, um, I had this next question, that what has NRV2X, like, what has what is like NRV2X capable of doing that as DSRC could not do? Like, what was the main reason behind um, being DSRC being obsolete. So that was something that I wanted to know, like what is the reasons for Wi-Fi. It's a strong technology. It can it has been currently used in so many things right now. But why was it why did it got obsolete for vehicular communication? So that is something that I really wanted to know. And so why DSRC went obsolete? So I found out that one of the major reason was scalability. Wi-Fi does well, does great when the vehicles are limited, when it's like 5 to 10 or 2 to 10 vehicles around. But in dense areas, it fails miserably, like dense areas. So what happens is channel becomes crowded. So one thing that you guys can learn, or you can guys can ask yourself is that why does DSRC does not support so many vehicles, or so many users. So take a look, go deep into that kind of question. And then next one was limited evolution. That is because cellular world was moving much faster, was moving much faster compared to Wi-Fi standard. Now in 3GPP also there are two things. There are two technologies. One is what LTE V2X that I already covered, and another is the latest one 5G NR V2X. So from this, I obviously wanted to go deeper into LTE part, or 3GPP part. I came to know that okay, DSRC has been obsolete, so I don't want to waste any more time on that, because it's already a old technology. I don't want to go into that part. I want to obviously be researching on the new things. So then what happened with LTE V2X and Wi-Fi G and V2X? Like what were they really supporting? So LTE V2X. So LTE V2X is more like a mature standard, already developed, from from a from so many years. So it's a mature standard and deployed, already deployed successfully. Then other thing is that hardware exists. What else, guys, for LTE V2X? If you guys know, see if it aligns with my answers. That other was easier deployment, since hardware exists and it's a mature standard, so easier deployment obviously. And what it does is it supports like basic safety areas, basic basic safety use cases. So how is it different from 5G NR-V2X? Let's discuss that. That is an important question, a very important research question. I'm sure we'll be able to get few things out of it. We'll know what is happening, and we can figure out okay in what direction we have to go further. So 5G and a V2X, it is the future. So it is the future, but not fully deployed everywhere. So, but not fully deployed everywhere. So I'm trying to write all these things just that, so further back, like after 40 days, 50 days, I can come back to these notes of mine, and I can cover, okay, why, what happened, or why this thing happened, why I'm on this path. So this is whole thing that, it will help me out also. So it's kind might be boring for few guys that, they might already know this, or so this is for my own sake. So because this is just not really a tutorial about something, it's really a research journey. So that's how I'm moving forward. I'm making my own notes, and on the same time, helping some people who are, new to this part of research. So another point was autonomous coordination. Okay, so I think after LTE V2X, there were a lot of autonomous vehicles that came into picture, that came into development, where LTE V2X could not support autonomous coordination. Then what? Cooperative perception. Okay, so I think this is one of the key point when pedestrian is hidden behind a truck, and the car behind it cannot see it, but the vehicle which is in front of that truck can see that pedestrian. So that is, I think, it's a great point for cooperative perception, and which can save many lives out there on the road. And advanced safety applications. What else, guys? Or what use cases can does it support? So supports use cases like platooning. What else? Sensor sharing, right? There are many sensors now that are deployed on autonomous cars. And then what else? Remote driving. So I think these are some of the use cases. Okay, these are some of the things that were not there on the older vehicle, which are right now deployed heavily in current um, cars. So now, so again, coming back to, now my research obviously will not focus on DSRC obviously, but only on LTE and V2X, or NR V2X. So as I think I've already said that. So just so that, if someone have um, missed that part. So because this is the current technology, LTE V2X and NR V2X, so obviously I want to spend my time over there. So in summary, let me just write down a simple V2X architecture that I understood from all this. That is, starting with V2X. I think this would give me a better approach. So I think I created this, starting with DSRC. We know V2X started with DSRC, and then what else? Cellular V2X, CV2X, right? And then DSRC has been from the family I standard, or the standard IEEE 802.11p, which is what? Wi-Fi based. And CV2X, that comes under from LTE V2X, and what else? Yes, NR V2X. So LTE V2X, which I've already guessed, which is from 4G, and NR V2X is from 5G. I like writing like that, but sometimes, I just 4G, 5G. So LTE V2X, this is basic safety applications, and 5G is for advanced autonomy. Like, or cooperative driving. So this thing goes like this, and this thing, okay, goes like this. I think this is a good overall architecture that I can follow, or if I want to come back later to cover up everything. Okay, thanks guys, thank you for following.